That seems awful. Why would you spell it humble? It's one more letter in a word for a average Texan to spell. Why make it
I
harder for
think it's
them?
some German shit. I don't know. The Germans are dumb.
Hey. We don't come at
I
German
forgot you are
people.
a German stand here. No,
We
Germany.
don't come for German people
uh,
post like
No, we don't like the German people.
1955.
Listen. Oh, as a Turk, I don't like the German people.
That's fair. You know what? That's fair. Um, However, they're good people. The food is bad, but they
The
have
food
good
is
food
very
from
bad.
other cultures.
Worst
Um,
Chipotle I've ever had.
Really? Okay, see, this is why
Oh,
you don't get Chipotle.
oh, Chipotle.
Okay,
Well, okay,
Oliver,
hold
why?
on.
Wait,
I
hold
have
up,
a
hold up.
feeling something.
No. Why would you go get Chipotle in Germany if you can walk outside and get like the best hot dog of your life?
Because I was stuck in Germany. First off, at this point, I wasn't supposed to be in Germany. Okay? I was supposed to be in Washington, D.C. This is the trip of hell. I left Turkey at 3:30 a.m., right? Because for some reason we're in Kash. So we have to drive about a 3-hour drive to Antalya, which is in the south of Turkey. By the way, 90-mile trip that's taking 3 hours because it's all these twists and turns at 3:30 a.m., right? Our flight gets delayed. So we miss our flight to Istanbul, which will take us to Germany. So we're delayed. We get to Germany, I would like to mention. So we are in the Istanbul airport for 12 hours, running on no sleep. Our flight, we get there at like 1 o'clock. We leave Istanbul at 11:30 at night to go to Izmir. At Izmir, our flight leaves at 3 a.m. We land in Germany at not 4:30. We land in Germany at about, so we leave at 2, about 5:30 a.m. 3-hour flight. Worst flight of my life. Have not slept for 24 hours at this point. We're in Nuremberg, Germany, because that was the cheapest way to get to Frankfurt. Our flight gets canceled in Nuremberg to get to Frankfurt. They're like, you get a train ticket. They bought us a train ticket, Lufthansa. Shout out Lufthansa. So we're going to Nuremberg on train. We're going to Frankfurt on train, right? We're sharing a compartment, like a fancy compartment with these German people with the stinkiest bread known to man. The
Was it
worst.
pumpernickel?
No, it was worse than pumpernickel. The stinkiest bread known to man. And I don't know where the fuck anyone said German trains are efficient. They are not efficient.
Well, they are for
It
me.
was 30 minutes late. I thought I was on an Amtrak train. I would like to say.
I'm gonna be
We
honest.
get
Let
to
me
we
interject
get to
here really
hold on.
quick. I'm just gonna say trains always seem to be late for train hater and bus lover Oliver over here. Keep going with your
Train.
story.
That's actually a very fair point. I will give you that. That is a very fair point. But we get to Frankfurt. Me and Shannon at this point, my sister, we're like, okay, we're here. We don't need to sleep as long as I can make it another 18 hours without sleep. I'm good to go. At this point, I haven't slept for like probably close to 30 hours. We are boarding the plane. The Lufthansa people look at my ticket while about to board the plane. They're like, "Oh yeah, your ticket got canceled." Literally about to board the plane to America. And then my sister just starts sobbing. We're waiting in line 3 hours at the Frankfurt airport, which, by the way, the day before the Frankfurt airport flooded. Hundreds of thousands of people have to reconnect their flight, right? I was talking to this rabbi. The rabbi was like, "Man, I'm just trying to get to New York." And I was like, "Hey, me too, dog. Me too." So we're in fucking Frankfurt airport. We finally get to a hotel. We still don't know how we're getting back to America, right? The original plan was we're going to take a plane to Italy, and then from 24 hours in Italy, by the way, in Rome, and then from Rome to Baltimore, right? And then I physically couldn't stay up any longer. It was 48 hours without sleep at this point. So I'm like, we'll figure this out in the morning. We'll figure this out in the morning. We did figure it out, granted. It was just fucking Condor, which is Lufthansa's off brand, to Baltimore. We did it, but I said, fuck this bullshit. I'm getting Chipotle. I want Chipotle. There was a mall a
That was
mile's
your
walk
mistake.
over, and we went to
That
Chipotle.
was your mistake.
Why? I'm not going to explore Frankfurt.
It's a
I haven't
beautiful
slept.
city. Okay,
No, it isn't.
I'm being so for real when I say this. Okay, I'm not being facetious whatsoever. The best Indian food that I have had in
You
my
told me
life
this.
was in Frankfurt, Germany.
You have told me this. You have
I
told
did
me this.
not. I had some of the best pizza I've had outside of New Jersey in Frankfurt. I had some of the best Indian food. Phenomenal bratwurst and currywurst on the streets. Obviously,
Best
um,
bratwurst I've had was in Vienna.
that's you know what, Austria is a bitch ass country.
I fuck with Austria heavy, actually.
No,
I fuck with Austria pretty heavy.
Germany. I was gonna say the annoying thing is I can't say stuff like German supremacy because like
Yeah, you can't say that, man.
I can't say that.
Yeah, you cannot say that.
No, but also, before we get into the actual conversation, just wanted to say, Oliver, I was right. I take back what I said
Listen,
earlier.
no, Conrad was right. Conrad hit the nail on the head. Conrad, take your victory lap.
Oh, with what happened?
Yeah, you called it 100%.
Dude, like this is the most obvious he created a problem and then he solved said problem while increasing the risk for everybody involved.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know, man. We like, yeah, it has the appearance of like him winning, but we all like with all things in this administration, I feel like we all lose.
Listen, apparently it wasn't obvious enough to me. I did think nothing was going to happen, and frankly, I stand by my opinion. Usually, I'm correct about this.
No,
Usually,
I
this
agree
is
with
not
you.
a
I
usual circumstance.
so I think post, I think beginning of 2020 on has been like a different, more jaded, more vulnerable, more like prone to whimsy Donald Trump as president. Like we started 2020 with this. We bombed Iran, Iran bombed us, and that was that. Like nothing escalated. There was no other countries involved. Um, I think we're seeing something similar now, and I think like obviously he was so jaded. He's just in it for revenge. We've talked about that ad nauseum. The protests, the failed raids, bad economy, no real trade deals. He hasn't really been able to do anything as president so far.
Yeah.
Um, and even this strike, banner day for the American military. Shout out to all of them. They are legitimately heroes. Um, but the American military literally had to create a ruse because they were afraid that Donald Trump would leak what we were about to do on the internet. So they had to spend probably what like a couple $1 billion to fuel and fly those planes on FlightAware so that the nerds can track them. Um they did that just to create a ruse because they needed to because the commander in chief was literally endangering people in the military. I think that should be the main sticking point. I think the other main sticking point should be what Conrad said. You created this problem by backing us out of this treaty. And I honestly think it's more disappointing that your milquetoast Main Street Democrat is more concerned about being left out of the loop and not in the group chat where he told, Mike Johnson, John Thune, and some other people that this was happening. They're more upset about that than the other stuff. And I think that's like insane.
It's ridiculous. And by the way, something I saw on Breaking Points that was a very interesting point that I think Crystal brought up. Um, first person he thanks, not the United States Air Force, not the service troops, not the people flying the plane. He thanks Netanyahu. Doesn't even thank the Air Force or anything like that. And it's ridiculous that this administration is tying itself so close to this government in Israel. It's I don't see the political move here. I mean, and a lot of people in Dearborn, Michigan, what their plan was like, listen, Joe Biden's a pure Zionist. He's going to stick with Israel no matter what. Donald Trump is at least transactional. We're going to vote. He's going to do whatever the fuck he does if he has money, and if it doesn't work for him, it doesn't work for him. And I guess they're willing to take that risk. And guess what? Sorry, people in Dearborn, you fucked up.
Yep.
This was going to happen no matter what. I mean, he was always the most pro-Zionist president of our lifetime, and this is including Joe Biden, who is the second most pro-Zionist president of our lifetime. I think it's kind of ridiculous.
I think even if you look at the election that's coming up in New York, Israel is such a hot button issue there too. Through AIPAC, through how powerful Netanyahu has gotten with our government, um, they kind of just dominate conversation now.
Which makes no sense. I
Which
mean,
makes no sense.
it's weird.
Okay, I might be wrong, but when like I understand you, like if it's a foreign visit to Turkey, India, where somewhere in Europe, wherever, to like add in another country at the end when every president goes, God bless, God bless America and God bless the people of the United States.
Hmm.
Like whenever he says that generic thing, when have you heard in like a military conflict saying God bless the people of Israel?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Ted Cruz said that like a week ago.
well,
What's
of
happening?
course they get their talking points through their Neuralinks. That's my new headcanon, by the way. Because like, how many times have we seen the like multiple account, whether probably Republican accounts will just say the same thing all of a sudden and change their viewpoint? I genuinely think it's getting Neuralinked in there. Um, I mean,
I mean,
you
not
wanted rats
Neuralinked,
for
but
lab
Fox
trials.
News.
What's better than a Republican congressman?
I don't know.
They
I
don't
don't know.
do anything, dude. Like you talk about waste, fraud, and abuse. Like why is any Republican congressman there?
It's a good question. Good fucking
We don't
question.
we don't need any of them. I mean, they just do whatever the man tells them to do. That's it. I don't get
Oh,
it, man. I don't get it. I don't know.
yeah.
I,
I
I
think
I think I think it's just like going back to your point, Noah. I think it's absolutely silly in a mayoral race to have a hot take about anything international. I understand New York's like, I mean, it does. It's the financial center of
Mm-hmm.
America. Like, I mean, it's a cultural hub. It's a big thing. Like, I understand that, but why? Aside of like being agreeable or just amendable to meeting whomever and welcoming them to the city and being hospitable, like, what do you have to do international politics wise? Is there something like I'm missing here?
I I don't think that there's much besides when like a visiting dignitary comes, just like showing up and saying hi. Um, I don't think there's much that a mayor is responsible for outside of making sure that like no group of people from a certain country is like discriminated against in their city. I don't think there's much else that concerns a mayor with foreign policy.
yeah, I think that's a very interesting like why are we tying this New York mayoral election so closely to Israel is always very weird to me. I think too. I mean, and the one argument I would make is Israel. I mean, not Israel. New York is the most Jewish city in the world. I think. Like, and I could be wrong. Noah, you're gonna probably have better numbers on this than me. But like, I think by just sheer numbers, it would. If it's not number one, it's top three, right? I mean, it would probably be. My guess would be Tel Aviv, probably Jerusalem, then New York. I mean,
Probably.
it's crazy, and even crazier to me is that Jewish people are supporting Mondani, and overall as a whole, I mean, it's very he's getting a lot of support from these folks that they're trying to demonize, who are I don't know. It's very interesting.
Do you think liberals and Democrats in general have lost the ability to have a nuanced take about issues? And we
Yeah.
talked about this last time because you can't criticize Israel without being labeled an anti-Semite. And like they're two different things. Having a country's population be comprised primarily of a given religion doesn't mean like I don't know. I don't know the logic behind this, but like not all Israelis are Jews. Like not all Americans are Christians. And I wouldn't say we are. I mean, there's a lot of people who would argue we're a Christian nation, but like
Government
we're
of Texas.
but like we I don't know, man. Like I wouldn't consider you to be anti-American. I mean, anti-Christian if you didn't like America. Like I don't understand how that gets
Mm-hmm.
kind of enveloped
So
via Israel. Like kind of understand. I think it stems from the Holocaust, but the state of Israel is just completely separate from Judaism as a faith and as a religion.
well, and yeah, you're right. And I think a lot of people who support the state of Israel are evangelical Christians. It's because they believe that once all the Jewish people return to Israel, then Jesus Christ will come back, and then there will be like a 7 days. The 7 days war will happen. All the evil nations will attack Israel, and then the chosen Jews will ascend up to heaven. And That's what they believe. That's evangelical Christianity for you, right? But
Insane.
another thing I want to add to your point though about the nuance. I do think Americans as a whole, and I mentioned this earlier, was like no, but I do think Americans are very nuanced. That's the thing. I was just listening to NPR Houston, and they brought up how as a whole Texans are they're a lot more moderate than we give them credit for. We want certain gun control. We don't want anyone to own a gun. We want to protect our border, but we don't like what's going on with Donald Trump and Greg Abbott putting barbed wire in the rivers. But the thing is, we just keep electing the people. I think the problem isn't the people. I think the problem is our politics. Our politicians aren't nuanced enough. They don't
Mm-hmm.
have it being nuanced in American politics punishes a candidate. You
Mm-hmm.
can't have multiple issues on multiple sides of the aisle anymore because you'd be labeled a dino or a rhino.
Yep.
Now, that being said, though, people who I would label as a dino are still pieces of shit. I mean, I don't know. It's the thing. I don't like them. For if I'm being completely honest, I think you should be able to have different opinions, but you should have different opinions. You should legislate those different opinions, but you can't come out.
Dude, it's hard. It's hard to talk about because I'm going to be honest. I think it really, and I bring this up a lot, and it's a little tinfoil hatty. It seems like the Democrats are just the feckless opposition. Like, I don't know how much or how you can fumble the bag this bad for this long. Like, like we don't solve problems
So
anymore.
I
We don't.
think it's more so that since Donald Trump came into power, we want to believe that like Republicans are this corrupt party that are out for power and personal gain. I think
Hmm.
what we've forgotten since then is that a lot of elected Democrats are very similar in their ambition for getting elected. It's not necessarily to help people. And I think you can see the divide. You can see why people think that Bernie Sanders is there to actually help people because my man is damn near 90 out here in the blazing heat of Texas
Fucking
campaigning.
Houston.
Um, right? But then at the same time, the fact that they don't support corporations, the fact that they don't take money from them, that they're not tied to them, leads to like such heavy media pressure against them that every single moderate Democrat that you will talk to in this country right now will be like, "Oh, the Dems don't have a leader or anybody to talk for us." But also, I hate Bernie Sanders and AOC, and it's like, what do you want a leader with policies that you will like that will benefit you, or do you want this ideology only? Like, what is it? What is it that scares you about someone like Bernie or AOC or Zoran? What is it that scares you? Um.
It's oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, just really quick. I want to address one other thing about Israel really quick because it very much coincides with India and how people talk about Indian politics, who are from there or have affiliation to there. Um. It's very similar. You cannot say anything mean about India without being anti-Hindu. And to
Hmm.
top it off, if you say anything mean about Narendra Modi, you're anti-Hindu and anti-India.
Mm.
And it's like I feel like Israel is the very similar in how we're forced to talk about it now to be like PC. Um, right? You can't be anti-Netanyahu or you can't be anti-Israel without being an anti-Semite now,
Yeah.
which is insane.
Dude, like I think there's been so much of a mix between politics and religion. It's
Yes,
been getting like disturbing,
this is
borderline.
this is why. So I still think like here we'll be fine because like yes, it's getting scarier, but it's not at like an Israel or India level yet.
Hmm.
Um, and what I keep trying to tell people in India is that there's a reason why India is successful now, and India is treated like a major player on the world stage and welcome in the world economy and world trade versus Pakistan. And it's not
Hmm.
because you have Hindus and you have Muslims and God just likes you more. It's because Pakistan decided to make itself a Muslim country while India stayed secular, and that has allowed it to be treated as it's been treated, and why Pakistan is treated in the way that it's treated. Now, obviously, helping certain people hide in the mountains and things of that nature doesn't help your case. But I feel like we don't get to that point if you decide that you're a secular country in like the 40s. Um,
Hmm.
and that's why it pisses me off because I'm like, you're just being stupid when people are like, oh, India should be a Hindu only country. I'm like, you're losing the point because then when that happens, people stop trading with you.
No, and it's very funny too. Just bringing up the Pakistan issue. I mean, they were founded as a secular nation. They were based off of the Turkish constitution, and Turkey, Ataturk founded Turkey to be a secular nation. He wanted Turkey to be the European giant of the Middle East, pretty much, right? He wanted a nation where you were not influenced by religion. And then when Pakistan was founded in the 40s, that's what they tried to base themselves off of. Pakistanis didn't like that. 2 years later, they overthrow the government and then they install their religious zealot. I it's a very it's very interesting. It's a very interesting take though, where it's like having a nation of just religion taking over a nation and seeing where it goes. Because right now it's happening in India, right now it's happening in Turkey, it's happening in Hungary, it's happening all of these nations that are falling under authoritarianism. It's happening in those nations. I mean, America too, for instance. Evangelical Christians, Catholics in Hungary, Muslims in Turkey, and then Hindus in India.
Right. And it's like it all stems from the same thing that these like minority powers are out to get us, and
Right.
they will
It's
get
it's the
us
same
soon.
playbook. It's the
It's
same
it's
playbook.
fear. Benjamin Netanyahu has been saying that Israel or that Iran is about to develop nuclear weapons for 30 years. For
And
30 years, and no one has ever pressed his ass on a timeline.
I but I would like to go back to the dinos point and the
Hmm.
rhinos point. I think just being nuanced
Yeah.
is such a foreign concept in American politics, which is fucking ridiculous.
There's
Because
way too many purity tests. Sorry, Oliver. My
exactly, no,
apologies.
you're right, 100%. I think, and especially in the left, as someone who I would say I am a leftist, right? We want a perfect candidate, and we will have someone who we think is damn near perfect, who's all that. But then there'll be one person in the crowd who's like, yeah, but once he tweeted out in support of guns in 2006, and it's like, oh, we can't elect him anymore. He's pro gun. When it's like, dude, no one's fucking perfect. That's the problem. And as a Democratic, we also brought up the point of just Democrats like wanting to just the moderate as a whole having no leadership. That's true. There is no leadership right now. I do think, and I love Bernie Sanders. I love AOC, but I think they are currently leading. Actually, hold on. I want to rephrase that. I did not like what I said there. Okay. I do think right now moderates do have a point on there really is no leadership in the Democratic Party right now because there really isn't. But that being
Hmm.
said, we don't have a Democratic president. We're
Hmm.
not having leadership. Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, they're failing the American people right now.
Hmm.
And people like Bernie Sanders, who we're probably past his time, way past his time. He's
Oh
not the
yeah.
leader of the party, but he's stepping out as the leader currently. He's, I guess the term is, you know how the NBA you fire a coach? He's the interim head coach right now.
Yeah.
Until we find that leader, he is our leader, I think. And moderates, I do firmly believe moderates would rather watch a Democratic Party crash and burn than elect a progressive.
Yep.
I think we're witnessing it right now with Andrew Cuomo and Zoran Mandani.
Yep.
I think the New York Times basically coming out and anti-endorsing Zoran is a perfect example of this. They can't come out and endorse Cuomo because they called him a rapist a couple years ago, and he is a rapist. The Jim Clyburn. By the way, I made that point about Jim Clyburn last week. My hatred for Jim Clyburn is always getting renewed because
Hmm.
he's the easiest person to hate in American politics. He is a scumbag. He comes out in favor of Andrew Cuomo. Dude, fucking Michael Bloomberg, the worst people you know are endorsing this guy
Yep.
because they are scared to see actual political change.
Hmm.
The Democratic Party is not a change making party. The people in charge do not want change. They want the status quo so their billionaire donors can stay in charge, stay on the top of the hill. Where people like Bernie Sanders want to give us a shot, they don't want that.
Yep.
Dude, and I think that's desperately needed is
Yeah.
the churn, the economic churn,
Mm-hmm.
like the opportunity churn. Young people are getting choked out of everything.
We need an opportunity economy.
Oh, dude. Dude,
Shout out the Harris campaign.
I had a conversation with someone who I work with, and I was talking about I had this idea for a wealth tax on billionaires because like I don't know how else you get them. right? Because like they don't really take a salary. They live off of loans that they,
Dividends.
yeah, like they don't really get paid the same way any of us do. So how do we tax them? And it was just like, okay, let's do a wealth tax, but until they reach, I said like until they reach $30 million, none of that money will go to the people. It will sit in an account so that way we can guarantee them a lifestyle that is better than 99% of pretty much everybody, right?
Hmm.
So, and I was just like, yeah, we'll go after their wealth. We'll a more progressive tax structure. After $1 billion, we'll start taxing at 0.5%, and maybe we'll make that up to like 5-10%. Like that's a pretty aggressive tax on something you don't earn, but that you're not earning, I guess, right? Like a wage or something like that. It's just wealth.
Hmm.
And they were like, "Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea because it's a slippery slope." And I was just like, "Bro, we're not talking about like a millionaire. We're not talking about like someone who makes tens of millions or hundreds of millions. We're talking about someone who does not have the capacity to spend all the money they have in this lifetime.
Yeah. Insane.
And everybody's just a billionaire and millionaire in waiting. And they don't want to
Yes.
Yep.
change
Yep.
anything. And
Exactly.
it's infuriating, dude. It's infuriating.
Exactly.
You know who's a
Um.
really good? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I just wanted to going back to the nuance thing, right? Now, this is what I'm about to say is going to be an assertion. I think ESPN genuinely is one of the biggest reasons why we are the way we are as a country right now because nuance from sports went away first through shows
Mm.
like First Take and through shows like that. Sports is like the number one media consumer in the country. And then on the other side, you have Kardashians and glorifying famous people for just being famous. For the people that aren't really into sports, maybe they're more of a reality TV route. Um, but I think with sports, there's no nuance in sports anymore. It's either like, Shea is the MVP, he's a god, anoint him, or he's a bum, he's a free throw merchant, right?
I think both are true.
Exactly.
He's
In
no
most
James
cases,
Harden.
both things are true. There are some games where he's a free throw merchant, and then there's other games where he is genuinely like the best basketball player in the league,
Hmm.
right? And you should be allowed to say both without like creating one narrative that everybody sticks to. Same thing with like, debating LeBron versus Jordan every single day, like 10 different times on ESPN.
Dude, especially when we all know it's LeBron.
Yes.
But I 100%, dude. I actually do like that take. I do think as well. I mean, if you want to go even further back, I mean, sports takes it from the news, like a Crossfire, right? What was that? That show with Tucker Carlson and that other liberal. It's just the evolution of discourse in this nation is fucking
Because
dead.
now, if you go
It's
on, I haven't watched like an American news channel in at least a year.
yeah, it's rough.
Because if I want like up to date, like live breaking news coverage with like people in the field, you watch BBC. And
You
if
go
you,
foreign.
yeah, and if you just want like a quick update on what's happening, Aaron Parnas exists. Did you
I
know
follow
that?
breaking points.
Did you know that Aaron Parnas, after the Daily Mail and Fox News, Aaron Parnas is the most viewed media source in the world?
I believe it.
That's fucking nuts.
And that's in like 5 months of doing it full time.
Dude, that's crazy. I think. What were we
It's
talking about
because
before?
I don't know, but
I think
like,
a lot of it has to do again with authenticity.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
we were
he has the appearance of not being run by some sort of corporation, some sort of faceless entity that's pulling strings behind the scenes.
dude, Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders, AOC, people like him because they're authentic. They like Zoran Mondani because he's an authentic guy. I think that's the difference, and that's what the basically old heads in the Democratic Party are so scared of. They know they're not authentic. They know they will never have an authentic candidate because, no offense, they're all full of shit. That's why I am not a Pete Buttigieg guy. He is who they want to push up front, but it's not coming from a place of authenticity. I don't see it personally.
Dude, and to prove your point, what do you think about the beard?
Exactly, dude. Exactly. I
yeah,
think he. I think
that
he
I'll
Bro,
give you
has
that.
already
disappeared,
adjusted.
came back, looked a little more rugged,
Hmm.
looked like more masculine. Like
Yep.
that was definitely a move
It
for a
was.
reason.
It was. It's just wild. And that's why I unfortunately think Republicans have won this last election is people think Donald Trump was more authentic than Kamala Harris, and I think in the beginning of the campaign, I brought this point up last week. Kamala Harris is way more authentic than Donald Trump. I don't think that's even a hot take. I think that's just the truth.
Yeah.
But then she keeps getting the wrong people surrounding her. She keeps getting the consultants, Jen O'Malley Dillon, and then they turn her into the most basic fucking Democratic candidate of all time that people cannot stand. They try to turn her into Hillary Clinton pretty much. People don't like Hillary Clinton. People
Yep.
don't like a shell. They want authenticity. They want realness.
You know
That's why they
what's
love Donald Trump.
one thing I wish she said more, because like foreign affairs became such a big thing
No,
in the campaign.
Palestine.
Well, yes, but also like how many people do you know? Because I'd have college kids all the time be like, "Why are we sending $100 million to Ukraine? I have to pay for tuition," and like random bullshit like that, right? So I do think that like spending abroad and shit like that had become kind of an issue, especially when he kept saying that end all wars, end all wars. Why did she not run on the timeline, or why did she not somewhere in there embed the fact that she would be the first president in the 21st century to not send people to Afghanistan, to not be involved in that decision?
They were probably trying to separate themselves as much as possible from the pullout, which, to be fair, how the fuck did anybody think that was going to go?
It was Donald Trump's
Yeah.
plan.
Like,
You know what his plan was? There was no plan, and Joe Biden was like,
like, no
okay,
offense, like, even if Donald Trump pulled out, I am still not going to blame him for a failed
yes,
military operation that
Yes.
took over 2 decades
yep,
with like people
dude,
who
and
don't
I think
share our
what's
same
wild.
values, who don't. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're right, man. Keep going, keep going.
No, 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 no. My computer cut out, so I
Uh
think,
oh.
like, unbeknownst to me, I was. My apologies. Sorry, Oliver.
No, I think it's wild. I do think she could have. That's so funny. What this race is, Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump. In that last race, Donald Trump is the more liberal candidate on foreign policy, which is fucking wild. Do you know how Kamala Harris wins? I think young people and wins Michigan. I'm not sending any more money to Israel for their aggressive war on Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
I think you win younger people more.
Yeah.
Will people believe her? I don't know, but I think she should have come out day one. And by the way, with Conrad, you brought up the point where they're trying to separate themselves. They want to separate themselves from the Biden administration, or at least make Biden look clean face. 100% correct. 1,000,000%. Because it's Biden people running her campaign.
Yep.
The
Dude,
same people are running her campaign.
you want to win that election? You know what you do? You throw them under the bus.
Yes.
Yep.
Like I hate to
Which
say
Yes.
that.
I hate.
Yeah, you
I
don't like it, but we're not playing. We're playing for fucking keeps, dude. This is our lives.
Why would you say? Why would you say? Oh, I wouldn't have changed very much under the Biden administration. Go
fucking
out there
Bro,
and say I
go
would
for
have
broke,
fucking
dude.
done things so much different.
Inflation wouldn't be a problem. They
No,
didn't
not
listen
at
to
all.
me.
They
Like
didn't listen to me. They shoved
yep,
me in a corner. They shoved me on
yep,
the border. They knew I had nothing to do with.
fucking
Literally,
lie,
throw his
dude.
ass under the bus. Most unpopular president. Not
Yes.
counting Donald Trump. Joe Biden. Throw his ass under the bus. He's not gonna like it, but guess what? That's how you win. You got to
He
make
secured his
sacrifices.
legacy just by stepping away from power. That's
Exactly.
enough where in 50 years it doesn't fucking matter if you win.
We're gonna talk about him like LBJ in 50 years, okay?
yeah.
Well, yeah, like what's FDR's poll numbers after his first term, after his second
Dude,
term?
exactly, like 90%.
No one knows. No one gives a shit.
That's true. That's actually a good point.
Nobody knows. Who gives a shit? Like what matters is your legacy and your impact on history. What did you do? What could you have done? And like
Yep. I think I agree with you guys. I'm probably the biggest Biden guy on here. I still agree with you guys that that's what she should have done, and I think that's one of the biggest issues with Democrats in general is that people value being the better person and being on the moral high ground more so than actually winning.
I would like to fight you on that last statement of you being the biggest Biden guy on here. I am a ride or die. I'm ride or die with my boy Joe Biden. I'm
Okay,
riding with Biden.
I bet. I knew. I mean, he does like riding bicycles.
He likes riding what?
He does like riding his bikes.
He does. Listen, my man, he tries. He loves his buses. He loves his trains too.
Ice
He
cream.
doesn't love buses. I haven't seen him on bus. I've seen him on
Have you
trains
not?
multiple times.
I've seen the Biden bus. He's ridden
Oh,
on a
okay.
bus.
A campaign bus is different, but in his day to day, he likes to use the train.
No shit. He's a senator. He's been a senator for like 80 years.
The train. Okay, there's a bus. I'm sure there's a bus that goes from Wilmington
Yeah,
to
but
Washington.
who wants to fucking take a bus to Wilmington?
Exactly.
No,
But
but
you'll take a train because trains are better.
And by the way, candidates at the top of the ticket of the Democratic Party, you know what they should be doing more? Just candidates in general. Just throw the fucking party under the bus.
Yes.
I think, oh no, they're talking trash about the Democratic Party? What will I ever do?
How do you think Donald Trump
You
won?
you support the candidate no matter what, even if they are talking shit about the party as a whole.
Yes.
The party will live. The candidate may not. But guess what? If he loses or she, we still supported them. We will still support you.
Dude, I think tomorrow is going to be a major litmus test for like democratic sustainability in this country.
Yeah.
And
Dude, like, if
I'm
they elect,
terrified. Like if Andrew Cuomo wins tomorrow, genuinely, they're going to. I will lose faith in that. I will lose faith in us in a major way. I
yeah,
genuinely, if it's Scott Stringer, Brad Lander, Zoran, it could be any other candidate. It just can't be that guy.
dude, on the Democrat side, on the left side, we cannot keep electing the same people and expecting different results.
And
Like these neocons, neoliberals, we know how they operate. Like this whole thing of cutting taxes for rich people, taking away, I don't want to say entitlement programs because I think that's not a great word, but social support
Yeah.
programs. I think entitlement
Social safety net.
yeah, social safety net. Thank you very much, Oliver. Like that's been the playbook since Reagan.
Yeah.
We we, we all know that. Like you know what you're going to get with Cuomo. You're going to get like a sleazebag politician who hurts people.
exactly.
Whether it be the women he works with, whether it be the elderly of New York, like the dude is in it for himself.
Yep.
Dude, 100%.
Sorry, Noah. I'm like,
No,
I feel
you're
like I'm
good.
cutting you
You're
guys off.
good.
You're killing it, bro. I want to add on to that. I mean, it's like we keep electing the same people, and we're shocked nothing changes. It's fucking ridiculous. I also want to add on to Noah's point too, where Noah was like, this is a key moment in the Democratic Party as a whole. I also think this is a key moment for 2028. I think if we see Zoran win, we're going to see a progressive win this primary in 2028 as well. New York is a very liberal city, but it's also a very moderate city at the same time. A lot of these major American cities are not as liberal as people think they are. They love to elect moderates as their mayors, as their city council, shit like that. And I use DC as an example. I'm born and raised in DC. We are the bluest state, city, whatever it gives electoral votes. We voted 95% in favor of Joe Biden in 2020, right? And we still have a super moderate person in charge as our mayor. Our city council is very moderate. We have about 2 or 3 DSA members out of 7, right? But I think this could be a tell of what the base wants in 2028. I think if Zoran wins tomorrow, I think AOC announces she's running for president in 2 years.
For
I
sure.
think we see an AOC run. I think we
Yeah.
see a lot of progressives say, fuck this. Zoran can do it. I can fucking do it too. We need a progressive. This is going to shift the party as a whole to the left. Now, if
Now,
Cuomo wins, Zoran's going to run as a working families candidate, I firmly believe. I
Mm-hmm.
think he's running as a worker fan.
so
Working
Oliver,
families? Yeah.
for people that watch, really quick, sorry. Oliver does give the best election predictions I know. Once again, shout out for taking my phone away on election night last year, because like that probably saved my mental state a little bit that day. What do you think right now about the New York mayor primary?
Zoran has momentum, and momentum is real. I've seen this. The example I always love to use for momentum is 2021 Virginia gubernatorial election. The last 3 days, the polling shifted from Terry McAuliffe to Glenn Youngkin. Glenn Youngkin wins that election. Zoran's base is turning out, and I don't like using early voting numbers because I loved early voting numbers in Pennsylvania, and they didn't mean shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do think Zoran's base is more likely to turn out than Cuomo's. I think Zoran in the ranked choice voting system, it's going to benefit him more than it's going to benefit Cuomo, because I do think enough people are going to leave Cuomo off their ballot to hit him, to hurt him. I think Zoran wins personally, but I think he wins by like 50 50.02 or something like that.
Yeah.
He's going to barely win the primary.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to have the messiest general election in New York City history.
Dude.
It's
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, whoever wins did not win. This election is not over. If Cuomo wins by anything under 5 points, Zoran is running as the working families candidate. If Zoran wins by anything under 5 points, if Zoran wins in general, Cuomo's running as whatever his party is, like Freedom or some shit like that. And then on top of all that, Eric Adams is running. The Republican is running. We're going to have a very fun election in New York City this November.
Bro. And I think everybody else loses that one. Like, they're going to cannibalize each other's votes.
Here's the thing that I think is going to be very interesting. Because you know I think Adams and Cuomo are going to cannibalize. That's the same vote share.
Yep.
They're both cannibalizing older black voters, older Latino voters, right? Zoran, if he were to run, let's say he does win the primary, he has all the young voters. Young voters are not voting for Adams. Young voters are not voting for Cuomo. They're sure as shit not voting for the Republican right now, right? I think Zoran would have a better chance as a Democratic candidate, but I think it's going to be a very, very, very interesting time. If Cuomo does win, and he does have the Democratic nominee, I think Cuomo wins in November. If Zoran has a Democratic nominee, I think Zoran wins in November. But no matter what, this election is not over. We're still going to be talking about it a week later. We're going to talk about it on Thursday. I'm telling you.
100%. So pertaining to Iran and Israel, we have some new news. Donald Trump just said that they've agreed to a ceasefire.
Hey, that's a win.
Iran and Israel, not the United States.
I figured, yeah.
So I think that makes sense because Iran has not struck anything in Israel for like a couple of days now, and they're getting their ass whooped. Militarily, as shown by us doing severe damage to their nuclear sites, but their missiles and their attacks today not being able to get any damage on any U.S. base because we intercepted all those missiles. Shout out America. They don't have the upper hand there. What's scary to me is that the amount of little fuckery they can do is like the potential for that is endless. And also going back to what Oliver Conrad always says, that this ultimately will end up hurting regular people. If Iran, their parliament has already said that they're going to block the Strait of Hormuz, if their Security Council also decides to do that, that is 20% of the world's oil. You will be paying at least $5-6 a gallon for normal gas. Dude, I spent
estimating it anywhere else. I think Texas, we're gonna be paying $5-6, dude. In like New Jersey, the East Coast, you're gonna be paying like 6-7.
What's
Good
it
luck,
called?
yeah.
Yeah. Today I paid $4 a gallon for like the premium gas, so it's still premium, but like that's more than I paid in a while.
I don't know if I mentioned. I know I mentioned this to Noah, but I was talking to the lady at the gas station I go to. I go to Walmart for gas because, listen, I live in a city. I live in a pretty bougie area of Houston right now. Gas is not cheap around here, even for Texas standards. It's definitely not very cheap. But I paid until last week $2.43 a gallon, right, which is a very good deal for gas. Literally, I'm talking to the lady. She's like, "Yeah, we're just like people are filling up their cars. It goes up 20 cents a gallon while people are filling their cars up. So currently, gas in Texas is $2.63, at least at my gas station. It's fucking insane.
We went from 329 to like 360 something.
That's fucking crazy. That's insane, man.
And I don't know, man. People need to understand that whether it's gas, it doesn't have to be like your gas prices, right? Like go ahead. Sorry, no. What's going
I'm
on?
so sorry. I'm so sorry to cut you off.
No.
I'm just reading his statement on Truth Social. So the ceasefire will start in 6 hours from now. Iran will stop striking for the first 12 hours. That's when Israel will do anything.
So what does that mean?
I remember when he said that there was a ceasefire between Gaza and Israel just like used that ceasefire opportunity to bomb the fuck out of them again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what we're gonna see happen in Iran. There's no way Netanyahu just sits on his hands. Um,
If he does, I
and
mean, I don't.
also the other, he's calling it the 12-day war and saying that it could have gone on for years if he hadn't done anything to stop it. Um, which is bullshit. And then also he says, "God bless Israel, God bless Iran, God bless the Middle East, God bless the United States of America, and God bless the world."
Lord have mercy. God
My
bless
guy.
Iran.
God bless Iran from
God
Donald
bless
Trump
Iran.
himself.
I'm gonna go get some Persian food, man. Hell yeah, that's the plan.
I made chicken curry.
Ooh, my dad made. I think my dad made curry too, actually.
Immigrant.
Well, different kind of curry.
Dude.
Conrad, are you gonna make curry tonight?
No, I tried to make chicken tiki
Ooh,
about like 3-4 weeks ago. It came out
Ooh,
okay. It came out
nice.
okay. Nothing too great though. I definitely didn't like do the actual chicken right.
Okay.
So that was a bummer. But it was pretty good.
Nice.
You know, I'll today I went to no, this past weekend we went to I think maybe it was Persian, maybe it was Mediterranean. I think it was Mediterranean. I don't know. But it was like shawarma, I think.
what was the restaurant called?
Habib, I think.
Oh
Or
yeah, I've been there before.
yeah, it was really good, man. I
The
really
one,
enjoyed it.
the one by the State Street, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the old train station kind of there.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
I've
yeah.
been there. Yeah,
Dude,
no,
that used to be the hookah bar.
really?
That used to be the
That's
hookah bar
crazy.
back in the day. Yeah, I used to tell my parents like, "No, hookah isn't anything. It doesn't have any nicotine." And I'd just be sitting there like with two hoses, like just getting like,
Having a great time.
yeah, just a nick
So
buzz.
based.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
they have really good swordfish apparently.
Oh,
Really good swordfish. That's what my host family said. So if
hmm.
you go back there, try their swordfish.
I might have to
Shout
check
out
that out.
Connor.
It's fresh, not daily, but it's fresh. If they run out,
That's it.
I know. It's apparently very good.
As it should
Nice.
be. As it should be. Any other final thoughts?
Um, honestly, what do you guys think is going to happen in New York? Just predictions. Too close to call.
So after last year, I struggled to make predictions. As Oliver witnessed in Wisconsin when we very much had it in the bag by the moment we woke up that day. Um, but like you said, internet momentum, the
Or
Emerson
not even
poll,
internet. This is real momentum.
yeah, the Emerson poll hit the nail on the head last time for the Adams election. Um, they came out with a poll today. He's up four. It was 52-48 at the end of the ranked choice voting rounds. Um, and also, I think if you look at it, older people tend to go vote for Andrew Cuomo more. Younger people are skewing towards Zoran. Obviously, not like every single person in those demographics, but that's where the polls show that they tend to go. I think it's going to be a lot easier for younger people to go out and vote tomorrow than older people because it is genuinely hell outside.
Harsh weather tends to benefit the person with the more devoted base, and Zoran has the more devoted base.
Like, it is 6:30 p.m. It's 95 degrees outside with a real feel of 97.
Listen here, calm down, Snowflake. Calm down, Snowflake. It ain't that bad. It ain't that bad, Snowflake.
Dude, I
I don't know, dude. I don't
I
know.
I
This
I'll,
is
I'll I'll fucking melt,
Oliver.
dude.
This
No.
is this is worse
Average day in
than
Houston.
where you are right now.
Dude,
This is
it's
worse
dude.
in
I no
Houston.
no Noah. No bullshit. Average day in Houston.
No, it's 90 there today.
No. It's actually a very cool day today. It's very. The weather is very cool for this time of year.
Like,
But
bro,
when it's not like this,
the high.
dude, it's 90 at like 10 o'clock at night here.
Yes, it's gonna be 90 at 10
Hmm.
here.
I know. And welcome to Houston, Texas,
Um,
my boy.
it's legitimately colder in India than New Jersey.
That's wild, dude. It's colder here in Houston. We're having a pretty you guys are getting all that heat. We're apparently
Shut
getting
up.
the good end of it.
When it snows
God
point
is
5
shining
inches.
his light on Greg Abbott for banning Dan Patrick's evil THC bill.
Based.
Fuck Dan Patrick.
Not the sports anchor. The
No.
other guy.
The lieutenant governor of
I was
Texas.
very
who's pure
confused the
evil.
first like 15 times.
Yeah, we have a lot of evil politicians here. We
I
have
bet you
Greg
do.
Abbott. He's pretty evil. He's probably the most moderate out of the major three. He actually not probably he is. Dan Patrick, the lieutenant governor. So Texas, unique state. We have a very weak governorship. So the governor doesn't have too much power. The all that power is at the lieutenant governor level. Lieutenant governor basically controls the Texas Senate. He controls what legislation gets through, what doesn't go through. Right? He's basically the Speaker of the House, if that makes sense. Except he's another elected position. So the Congress won't elect him, or I guess the House and the Senate won't elect him, but the people elect him. And then we have the Attorney General, Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton's evil. I mean, indicted by the FBI for 10 years, got impeached by the Texas House a couple years ago, got acquitted because his wife was on the jury uh, of the fucking Senate. So he's also running for United States Senate right now, by the way.
Really?
Texas is we're a weird state, man. We're
Bro,
just
we have to
kinda,
stop electing clowns.
we do.
Exactly.
Dude, like, here's the thing: we need to look. The American population has to look at themselves in the mirror and kind of take responsibility for where we're at right now,
Mm-hmm.
because it's everybody's cumulative decisions that have brought us to this moment. It's no D's and R's or anything like that. It's everybody kind of has played a hand in this, and like we just can't keep doing the same bullshit,
Exactly. So one
dude. If
last thing. Oh,
Mm-mm.
sorry.
No, I was just gonna say if Cuomo, like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm like that would be like,
Um.
God damn it.
If I just saw one last thing on the internet that made a lot of sense. You know how since we lost the election, we've been talking about, oh, we need someone younger that connects with young men, can go on podcasts and be like, likable. That'll fix the Democratic Party. Zoran Mamdani fits all of those boxes, but because his name is Zoran Mamdani, and because he wants to rent freeze and make things cheaper for the average person, the Democratic establishment hates him and is literally like the shit that they are doing to try to weaken his candidacy is worse, is somehow worse than it's worse racial profiling than what they did to Kamala last year.
Yeah,
And
it's disgusting.
I think that needs to be looked. Every Democrat needs to look in the mirror and make a decision. Like, even if you don't live in New York, fuck it. Like, are you a Cuomo person or a Mamdani person? Like, who do you more closely identify with? And if it's Cuomo, um,
Dude, we can't help
Fuck
you.
no.
We
No.
yeah,
can't help
then
you.
suffer in eternity because that's
Yeah,
what you
no, I'm
deserve.
sorry. It's so funny. If you're a Cuomo person, like unironically, you've seen what Cuomo does. You've seen him sexually abuse people, kill old people in old homes, right? I'm sorry, but you're no different than a Trump supporter. Like you're making the same arguments in your head. You're doing the same mental gymnastics just because you don't want to vote for. I'm not gonna even say a brown man. Just because you don't want to vote for a fucking progressive. I
Yep.
mean, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm. But we'll leave it with that. We'll be back Thursday to talk about whatever happens in New York. Any updates on the Iran situation? We'll see if the ceasefire actually holds. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Peace.
Nice.